guys are tuning in for the very first time, my name is Holly Lee. I am an ex-Amazonian and I work for a couple FANG companies, but in the last 4 years, I have a blast being the founder of hollylee.co VIP coaching. I run a coaching business to help all of you guys transition into the big FANG companies. For those who don't know me, I have been operating hollylee.co VIP coaching for about 4 years. In November of 2022, I know that a lot of you have been laid off. I know that there are an overwhelming amount of single mom and single dad that have reached out to me. My way of giving back to the community is that in February, I have actually opened up a Zoom coaching and I selected 50 people, all of you amazing people, by the way. I was making an announcement week over week and I was able to help quite a few people land job interviewed. That is coming back. When is it coming back? It's probably not going to happen until mid-May. The second announcement I wanted to make is you have to really keep tab and follow me on social if you haven't already. By social, what I really meant is 2 platforms, which is LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm most active in those 2. In 2023, what I've done is that I have given away 50% of my earnings to single parents who are really struggling to support their children as head of household. That is correct. So if you wanted to help me and if you wanted to support the community as well, VIP coaching is the only coaching program that I have. If you're interested, no pressure for you. Note that a big part of my earnings is giving back to the community. I have to say that because it's really important. And for now, let's go ahead and bring our guest, Sammy, into the stream. There you go.
Hello everyone. I cannot see you. Hopefully, I look okay, but doesn't matter. You want to listen, you don't want to watch. But yes, Holly, thank you for inviting me, and it's an honor because I say, oh, the Holly Show. I want to join that show.
I'm just a normal person who have a AWS shirt that no longer fits me anymore. It's great. So the reason why I chose you, Sammy, is that I've been so impressed with every single thing that you do. For my members, my YouTube and my LinkedIn member, you all know that I only have guests with a phenomenal amount of background and experiences, right? For the most part, I love folks who are starting from scratch in their career, growing their career. And I'm not talking about getting a bachelor's degree or master or PhD. Nope. Down the toilet. I'm talking about people who actually work hard in leveling up in their tech or non-tech or transitioning. But in Sammy's case, he actually got over 70 cloud certification. He was also an AWS ambassador and also the face of AWS and certification. So I would love if you can take a quick moment to introduce yourself to our community here.
I'm just a normal little boy in China. I moved to Hong Kong, which learn different language. And actually, I always have 3-4 languages: Cantonese, Mandarin, a little Japanese. Well, that's different story. But what I find out is like what I have a moment when I was younger is I thought I still think I'm a dyslexia. I have reading disorder because I read, I just cannot. But I play really well with video games. I do not know that talent until probably like a few years when I start my cloud journey. So that's just the quick summary. But what I have started as is after I graduated from college, I was just doing programming and mostly using assembly and C, and I think that's my career. But my business needs someone to get close to application development, so I touch a little bit application development. They need someone maintain database, and I say, yeah, sure, why not? Just do a little bit database development. And then they say need one architect database, and then I say, okay, do I get compensated? Yeah, you will. Okay, I shall learn. And sooner or later, I just cross pretty much on the IT platform from development to operation, from operation database to manage network to
Mhm.
virtual machine. And I say, wow, I'm really not good at anything. I'm not good at anything, but I know lots of things. And then they don't touch your business. And now I'm an AWS ambassador, so I talk with more people on basically how to using cloud computing. But I say that's not good. I need to tell people you can be the professional I can work with. Like I wasn't that many search before. And I say if I more people understand cloud technology, both business side or technology side, those technologists and business professionals can work together and make both career better, make company make money. So suddenly I say maybe I should go to the Holly show. And yeah, I can spend days to talk about that, but the primary goal for this is like when we talk about career. One of the career mistake I made was I thought I was something. until I try something, I found I can do more. And when you want to do more,
Mhm.
you're excited, you sometimes get compensated. Sometimes you don't, but you get the excitement. So let me just put a little pause here.
That's awesome. I love when you said that it's not about just your communication skill or you're having an accent. I love that you share a story about speaking multi languages.
Hmm?
I can tell you that as I don't clarify myself as a diversify or diversity leadership coach, but so far 99.99% of every single client I've ever helped are diversity, and English is definitely not the first language. For instance, they're not born and raised in the US and they all have the exact same thing. That's why I don't do consultation call. Everyone says, well, Holly, I'm from China, I'm from Beijing, I'm from India, I'm from Vietnam, I'm from Paris, I'm from Germany. Like you guys name it. All of those folks are so worried because they think they have an accent and they're never going to get hired by any of these FANG company. The funny thing is, if you guys listen very carefully, I have a very thick accent. I rely. You see all the posts that I've done on LinkedIn? It is called Grammarly Pro. Okay, $150 a year. Go buy that. It fixes all your grammar. So Sammy, I'm really curious. What are you thinking, man? What motivates you to go from system administrator and engineer, cloud evangelist to why 70 certification? Why those 70?
It is go back to the story. I when I was a little boy, I loved to learn, and I love to learn a lot. But the culture say you should be good at one thing. Only one thing make you the best. And I was trying to understand that culture. And to be good, read books. That's exactly opposite of me. I'm not good at reading books. It doesn't matter Chinese book or English book to me. Just it's a torture. But I can learn so quick that either hands-on or watching a video, listen, and then able to solve the problem. I'll give you a quick story. When I was a kid, I loved to play video game, and back then we put a dollar, Hong Kong dollar is equal like a quarter in United States. I look at someone get around new game, I look at them a little bit, put my quarter in, break the game. Basically, finish the whole game. People know how long you have been playing that. My first quarter, my first dollar, and then I say, why you guys do not see the pattern? But if I have to read a book about how to play the game, I think after page 5, I already quit. So that's why I find out when I was turning close to 50, I say that there's so much I don't know. I should just learn it for the sake of learning to be like learn. And then when you learn one thing, you find out gap between another thing. For example, I was doing a database a lot. Database
Mhm.
actually work with QA team. I do not want to know what technology stack they do. I just know that you do your QA testing. Then I say, why not go to the QA meetup to say what are they talking about? Then I find something very interesting. Developer hate QA. QA doesn't like developer. When I pull myself out, I say, you guys should love each other. You could build a great portal for the customer. And then when I go to the DBA team, DBA team don't like developer because they screw up their production system. Developer don't like DBA because they keep pushing no. And I say, you guys should work together because customer want this database software. Then I get into like expand this horizon and find out something interesting. Business team sometimes just push all to the engineering team. Engineering team say, business team, what are you doing? Throw those features that we cannot hit the timeline. I say, well, because I'm outside, I see, do you know that business team plus engineering team build a product that we can sell for the customer to use and make money, that you have a jobs? But I don't know the other team, what are they doing? So that I start to exploring to see what the other team is. So like one of the comments that I'm changing from non-tech to tech, forget about tech, non-tech. You are going to explore some area you don't know. And I'm sure you have something to order
Mhm.
from what you know. When you combine these two, if you can actually harmonize with the two teams, guess what? You have a stronger team. And the other team will be appreciate, oh, I do not know how to solve this engineering problem. Let the engineering team, the guru. But they do not know the business side. So for example, you are a great salesperson. You say the way how you present these features is more important than the features. Trust me. You have to present first. Customer want it before they use it. If you cannot present that like some engineering team, your coding is excellent, but your presentation is horrible. So work with, learn from that. So do not think I'm transiting from one to another. You're expanding your existing expertise and
Mhm.
learn from other. So like that. Once you have that mindset, there's nothing to lose.
So what are some of the responsibility that you do right now for AWS as a trainer?
Backstory is that I was never want to be a trainer. First of all, I say,
What?
yeah, I don't, because I say that I'm too wordy, too long. And yeah, I can talk one sentence become like 5 paragraphs. Then I find out that that's the art I can I can keep expanding, but
That's because
expanding
you're
with
passionate.
interesting
There's a
story. Yeah,
difference.
interesting story. Also within the time limit. If you have 5 minutes, do not just say one paragraph or one line. But on the other hand, at the end of the day, the receiving end, because I'm a learner too. When you are instructor, your goal is not have the presentation, PowerPoint lecture, just push into someone's throat to have them swallow it. It won't work. You have to dynamic understand what the audience is, which I sometimes pay attention and then make jokes and then try to make the story easy for them to understand. So being an instructor is not just say this is the material, read
Hmm.
this up. Being an instructor is I first see what is my audience. Oh, you all level one and I'm teaching like 500 level material. No, no. Okay, think what I can deliver some key point of the 500 level to 100 level student. At the end of the day, you know something. Because if I just continue to read the whole slide, you are not instructor. You are basically Alexa reading the whole thing out. Not even Alexa, it's just Alex, whatever they go. That's what they want you for. Instructor is more than presenting information. You deliver value to the student. And then suddenly I say, that's what I like. I want people to receive the value. And also another thing, instructor get compensated, but the real compensation or real value you get being teacher, instructor, professor is when your students or the one learn from you get the value. That value
Hmm.
is a lot more than the paycheck or whatever. So
Yes,
that
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 is true.
excites me as an instructor.
I am dying to know, Sammy, when you started the certification,
Mhm.
how do you know which one to do next? Like, for instance, your top five, how do you know which one's more important?
Yeah, I in 4 years I got like totally about 70. Some of them I would consider is like just like using exercise easy. This is just a warm up, but you still have good value. Just throw one warm up for you guys.
Hmm.
If you are work for an AWS partner network, there is something called technical professional accreditation as well as business professional accreditation. That is very good. Doesn't matter you're a business person or technical person, get both. Number one, APN, Amazon Partner Network, need those. And for people applying job, that is a certificate AWS will count because if you work for them, that's good for them. If you are work for a partner, it's good for them. So
Hmm.
that piece of paper really have value, and it's not don't have to pay anything. You can retry the exam. So those were warm up. Before you do the race, you need to warm up. The next one is going to the step by step. For example, on my or all of them, the second group is called fundamental. Doesn't matter what cloud platform, you have to have complete one fundamental level, foundational uh, cloud practitioner. For people say that I can close my eyes to take the exam, then close your eyes and take the exam pass for me. I don't think you can do it. But the whole expression is you not only say you can, you do it. And if you don't, from my personal experience, because you're afraid you fail, if you will pass, you can do it in 20 minutes. Yes, plus overhead online, 35 minutes, finish that one. Guess what? You demo, especially I have someone is actually non-tech person. They clear that. That means a lot for them, for their team. You bring your team the motivation for them to clear them, to bring value to your team, your company, and to the customer. That the second one you have to do it. The third one is actually now getting more tricky. Is more like associate level. For the associate level, pick the one either you're most interested in or the one you already have background. For example, if I'm a developer, naturally I can go to AWS Developer Associate because I should have enough background to pick up what I don't know to clear the exam as a base. But if you are say my career I want to be a solution architect, then pick the solution architect as a challenge. You learn doesn't mean you know everything, but you do not learn, you will never pick up new information. And for the one say that it has zero value, that's a lie. It won't be zero value. You always have extra value. Do not miss that opportunity. The last one is a professional one. Probably this will lots of you. I want to clear the most difficult one. Then I say, have you done 1, 2, 3? The warm-up race, the foundational, and associate. At least prove yourself to yourself. You can do them and you can find sponsor. Most of those three levels can be get it for free. Once you get that before you challenge professional, because being a professional is not getting a piece of paper on professional cert. Like I
Hmm.
say, I
Yep.
am a professional, but I do not know how the AWS support tier works. You are a professional with lots of gap in your basic knowledge, and most business don't like that. Trust me. I love your professional skills because I assume you're the foundational, not because I don't want your foundational or like basic skills. You can be the star developer, ninja developer, but if you don't know how to talk with the engineering, not engineering team, the business team or in front of the customer to say what you're supposed to say. For example, I using this. Oh yeah, your problem can be solved, and I'm going to using S3 using life cycle with management, blah blah blah. And then the CEO say, "What are you talking about?" because you present the information not in the level of the CEO or CTO. Some of them are not that level. You ruin, not ruin, you do not add value to that pre-sale engagement or like product sales engagement, which lose your contract potentially. Do you want to be a great professional who can help the sales team to win the contract, to bring value and get a big bonus check? You answer that question.
What type of certification before getting into tech industry, like Amazon, for example, or the Google of the world?
If you work for a company's AWS partner network, they have all those free training, free accreditation, and free assessment. They bring more value than the book knowledge. To give you another example, when you are doing the business professional, they talk about how to build a business pipeline. They talk about how to present the message. These are the skills being a somewhat technical solution architect need to have. We sometimes do not mention that because I assume you already have. But if you go through the class, you get that cert. That is a valid certification, by the way, and you don't have to pay if you are APN. But if you are not APN, you are not a partner network, you go for the practitioner. That's a very good starting point. And the whole point is get the concept. I always tell people, what is the business logic behind this training? Instead of like, for example, S3, which is an object storage solution for on AWS. The problem statement is not S3. The problem statement, I have file I need to store. The file has different type. Which way will be more cost efficient? Which way will be make the file can be saved in a storage location which is cost effective? That is the problem you want to solve. Once you remember the problem, line up with what are the available solutions. You to pick up the right answer is easy. Like I can tell you why. Amazon will give you maybe 4 answers. One is S3, which is object storage. One is EBS, which is basically like a hard disk. Maybe the other called EFS, basically file share. And the last one, just name something else, doesn't matter. You not only you're going to know the answer is S3, which is object storage to solve the storage problem for a video file, but you also need to give answer why the other three is not right. Reason, you may have engineering team do not know the differences between EFS and EBS, why is good and not good. They may not know. You can explain to them. You may be explaining it to the customer. Now, like if I'm non-tech to tech, because you are non-tech, which means good at talk with the customer, then they gain trust. At the end of the day, they are not care about that piece of paper or that electronic badge you get. They want to trust you to deliver the solution they want. Can you gain their trust? So the question go back to you. What can I do to influence the customer and client, my team, to trust me more to be the provider for them? In turn, they will trust me more. And I learn. If I don't know, I learn. Like I say, I learn. Doesn't mean I will know everything, but I definitely can learn more.
If you're interviewing for a tech company, you need to learn what is the tech culture for the organization that you're in, right? For finance specifically, the tools, the platform you use, the software you use on the tech side of things, you need to know all of that. And if you have not had experiences with that, I'm pretty sure if you are interviewing and you're currently at a media company, what are you currently using as far as a technical environment? And I will still, for finance manager, program manager, project manager, basically the non-tech folks, even recruiters for that matter, I have advised a lot of the folks to take the AWS practitioner or certification, because you need to know how things run, right? It's not just Amazon or AWS. Microsoft have their own Azure. Google has their own Google Cloud. So at the end of the day, a lot of these infrastructures are very similar in their own way, but at least you could speak technology when those conversation comes up during an interview. And you do want it to stand out from the crowd, because right now, I'm not scaring you guys. A lot of people going through the same position. How are you going to stick out? And if I'm evaluating, 100 resume of finance manager, and you're the only one with like cloud certification, I would scratch my head. I'm like, whoa, who is this person? Why is this person acting like Sammy Chang? And start taking certification, right? So you want it to stand out. You want them to remember who you are. I'm looking to change to DevOps from non-tech. I've completed OCI certification and AWS practitioner. For applying to job, they do not shortlist what to do specifically.
Okay, OCI, I assume is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Hopefully that's the right one. I do have that one too. Actually, it's more than AWS, but it happened to be the top 3. And AWS is top. So just always good. Even you want to have your career in Google, still get AWS because, okay, anyway, different thing. You are from non-tech to tech. DevOps to solve what business problem? Always go back to business problem. DevOps is reduce attention between development and operation, come up with continuous product development, CI/CD, talk business. Okay, I may not remember exactly how I'm going to pull a code commit from there. Now you already fall asleep. The whole point is I cannot pull the source code and automate this process to reduce our deployment time. That's a business problem. If you do not know the exact step by step, that's something called Google. Search it. But you can present that to your team, or we're going to learn yourself. How do I solve this deployment issue? What will be the step by step going to solve it? Which portion I can automate? And then the automate portion, these days you even the chat GPT, just type, they give a pretty good code base, you can copy and paste. And present a solution. What is the business value to your hiring manager? Do not present things you are weak. Like, I do not remember the code, how to write that pull command. Is it git pull or something? You do not have to show people you don't know. If I'm the hiring manager, I don't care what you don't know. I care what you do know, what you solve my problem. Always go back to that. As a team, they say that no problem. I can teach you this command. Don't have to memorize it. Just push the button. I execute the script for you. But you have to tell me how to find the gaps. Being a non-tech means your strength is knowing all those gaps, knowing how to connect people, or knowing, like the previous one, talk about FinOps. Do you know FinOps? You in good position to be successful in cloud computing because so many engineers just spin up the workload and never shut it down. They do not have FinOps, basically hygiene to talk about how to keep the operation effective, how to charge back to the right department, how to resolve maybe political or inter-department tension due to the chargeback. You being on tech on the financial side, you already have enough business experience. Now you're just using a few coding or pipeline or tools to fill the gap. Then you can bring the value to not just the business side, but also the engineering side. Now they say, oh, I actually waste $30,000 on a machine that's sitting there do nothing. They don't even know it's sitting there do nothing because no one going to set up the hygiene to actually evaluate. But by doing that, your value is more than the technical that the technical team need. The value is add value to the technical team if you get closer to them, but never give up what you are strong on the financial team, a business side team. Make the connection, like what I'm saying. I'm not salesperson, but I can help the sales to sell, which means I bring him value, then he would like to talk to me.
Well, I disagree about not being a salesperson. If you're a great trainer and you're so knowledgeable, you're selling without selling, right, guys? Okay, let's go to thank you. Thank you for that explanation. Eric says, are there any courses within Amazon I should try? Currently working in Amazon retail, but I like to switch to AWS. I love you talking about consumer.
Mm.
What do you think?
I'm thinking, let me think business. You have been successfully delivered the solution on the retail side. So which means you may be good at customer service. And also you understand maybe what are the major frustration the customer have. So give an example. I think, not you, but you figured out. The
And
customers like to,
Eric is an
well,
account manager for
account
consumer.
manageable consumer. So one of the things, just for example, is waiting to get updates from the customer, and maybe can be a challenge on the retail side. Then if you are getting into the AWS side, you're going to say that I know that you can solve this problem in 5 minutes, but I do think, for example, a minute you need to send an update to the customer or some kind of things because these bring the value for the customer. They are not forgiven. Like when I order something on Black Friday, after a minute I don't see any email, I got panic. You send me 5 minutes, I get your order. Doesn't mean I commit, but at least okay, you go somewhere. It's not just lost in the deep blue sea, whatever. So this is one of the business option you have. Then you're going to using that, for example, in order to solve this, I'm going to using a Lambda function, basically serverless compute. Can be as simple as going to fan out on some. So find a solution that you have and then dive in a little bit to solve one business problem. Then from that business problem, you learn another one. So for the studying course, like say, there are so many. That's the problem. These days, too many good studying courses, and also depends on whether you have a sponsor. I personally will using back then I was using a cloud guru because they it's fun to watch. The reason I say it's fun to watch. But now they have so many good ones, so I do not want to narrow down. But the free one is always good. AWS Skill Builder, they even have the game. But problem is that, in my opinion, you maybe get into the game, forget about actually learn something. The idea is you're going to play the game in the what's it called, cloud quest, but do not just enjoy the game. You forget actually try to learn the technology. Focus on the technology. If it's too slow, just go to Udemy or someone to learn a program, and we can, because you are more customer facing, focus on the technology and customer facing. You do not want to do advanced networking, for example. That's totally wrong.
Mhm.
Unless you love to take the challenge, I won't say that is the best way.
AWS, whichever team or org you decided to transition to, will love you
Mhm.
because they're going to ask you, what do you know about our environment? That's absolutely going to be asked. And just because you are internal transfer, you still have to interview for the road with 4 interviewers, by the way. I don't think the bar raiser is there, but you still need to interview for the position, and they're looking for knowledge why you want to transition from
Mhm.
consumer to AWS, the why Amazon or the why AWS is still there. So why are you interested to make that move or transition? Amazon being the mothership of so many thousands of product or services, and I think every organization is unique in its own little way. You just have to be prepared of why and really know what the tech culture is and be educated in that space. I'm studying for AWS Solution Architect Professional Certification. Good for you.
Mm.
Can you please provide study tips to clear the examination?
Solution architect professional is really the hardest for all the exam, other than the AAI. It different kind of skill set you have to test. Number one is like time is your enemy. Even people like have no language problem like native speaking. So number one is like if English is not your primary language, definitely enable another 30 minutes as a year. The English as second language, ESL option, just automatic. You go to that, enable it. That 30 minutes will help you. The second one is before you come up with a solution, you need to constantly practice during your practice exam. Look at the question, quickly scan the keyword because you just don't have enough time. Once you scan the keyword, have to come up with an idea. If you're going to come up with this solution, what would be the solution looks like in your head? Because most likely you cannot get a piece of paper to draw it. Once you have that one, scan all the options down there, eliminate hopefully at least two of the wrong answer, and also give a reason why. This is not just about the exam. This is about in real life. When I work with the customer, sometimes do pre-sales or even heated discussion. You need to quickly tell the stakeholder or the team what to do next. Come up with some bad idea they come up. You cannot say, no, that's bad. You have to give them a reason, quick and short, and say why this is bad. You cannot using S3 because database on S3 is horrible because performance bad, and also you cannot do update. So then you have that skill. Once you build that skill, it's not about you clearing the solution architect professional. It's like if I give the job to you tomorrow, see the customer, you get my customer angry, guess what? I will let you go. But if you have that skill set during the interview, you present that this is why, this is how, this is my recommendation to solve your business problem. Use that exam as a good practice for you. Because you may say, but I failed the exam. The exam is for you to learn. If you cannot deliver the value at the end, it won't be good. But if you learn that skill, guess what? The next time you look at the question, you quickly scan this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. That skills more than you clear the exam. And on top, if you have already built that skill, you will pass the exam because you already know the exam is really clear. I'll give you another example. You talk about the three surfaces to link together, and the bottom have another three surfaces linked together. That's easy. They give you the exam as 10 surfaces. You're going to using the front, cloud front, going to be firewall, going to abundant. You look at that and say, what the heck? That is why you look at spot anything doesn't make sense, cross out the answer. They have 10 surfaces, maybe one or two surfaces you cannot connect together or it doesn't make sense. That is a skill you're going to build quickly. And once you have that elimination skill build, the question is no longer like 10 paragraphs long. The whole thing at the end, before the question, that's my tip. Read the question, one line above, look at the answer, try to find your answer, then read the whole question for the longer one.
I wish you could have told me that the days when I was in college. That would come in handy. With all the certification you've done, Sammy, what would you say the top three that's the hardest? You mentioned the
Solution architect
AWS.
profession.
Hmm.
Yes, that one is the hardest because being a non-native English speaker, the question is so long and the surface is so confusing because I'm confused. That's why it's so confusing. Now I understand. First of all, I already learned how they confuse you. Once you know how they confuse you, you pay attention to, for example, give you an example. I'm going to have the solution or the database and then a solution going to have something S3. I say, smell fishy, question mark. I already say S3 and database don't mix. So that has already out. So now I don't even have to read the rest. But again, at the beginning, you're confused because you do not know what are the area they confuse you. And like Holly, I did poorly in college, even in school, because I am not good at taking tests because I don't know how the test me. But now I understand because that's only a certain way to validate your skill set, just like interview. It's not because the interview process is perfect. They need to come up something so that they can follow to validate you. So for the professional exam, you understand the way they want to know clear on what should not do. That's why at first I always pick the right answer. Now I say forget about right answer. Taking exam and I did poorly, and that's why I learned how to learn. Once you know what you learn and you see the result, find out and use it, continue to use it. So like you say that your study on the professional exam, you don't memorize the answer. That's definitely the wrong way. You clear it, your career won't go far. But if you say that I do not clear the exam, so what did you do wrong? For example, this is
Hang on, I have to clap. He said, do not try to
I
memorize the answers.
no,
Yes, thank you.
because in life you're never going
Don't
to have
try
the
to
exact
remember
answer.
anything.
And in an exam, you say they ask which storage solution I'm going to pick. I look at that. Oh, a good solution. This and finally, when I finish the exam, I picked the wrong answer. But when I restudy that, I find out that that particular solution is not going to support operating system. Translate to is not bootable, and they need a bootable solution. So you know that that's the wrong answer. How would you know that is the one you need to learn? That's why some good practice exam, they do not tell you the right answer. They explain why the wrong answer is wrong. If you're going to pick some practice exam, pick the exam have good explanation why the wrong answer wrong, not the one just say right. Because those are the
Yep.
horrible. And learning is too. Mistake is the best way to learn, especially if you have a little pain, you learn faster.
What would you say is your best tip in helping someone be prepared transitioning into AWS?
Like I said, you probably see the pattern. I try to keep it the same. What business problem you solve? Because I can be a technical manager. You need to know what is my business problem. So even they ask you a question, you can say that, okay, I sense this is a business challenge you have. Is that am I correct? Reason is if that is the good question asked me as a hiring manager, I find out, oh, you're interested and you are more than technical. And I clarify what I need you to answer because sometimes the popping question, some interview is horrible. Develop a database system. What kind of question is it? So I say, for what? Is it for transactional? Is it for data warehouse? Is global? Maybe you can narrow it down what area you want to focus. I can give you example for that. I sometimes was getting into trouble. I cannot, being an instructor too, I cannot stop talking for 2-3 hours with 1 to 2 sip of water, marathon runner. So, but the problem is the receiving end after minute number 2 is already lost. So the other like 180 minutes totally waste. That's one thing I find in the interview. Unless it's technical question, I ask you A, B, C, you give me D, E, F. If that's the case, it should be quick, not even a minute. If you give me a long-winded answer, even technical, means you do not know the solution. I do not ask you to write me the actual code. I need to ask you with the key component. I need a for loop. I need the end inside because of this. I need to do the transformation. And any particular area you want me to explain further, they say, nope, move on. Don't always get angry when, not angry, excited or panic when people cut you off when you have a technical interview. I was answering machine gun question, like in 10 minutes, 30 technical question. And sometimes I in the middle of saying something, got cut. That's fine. Move on. Did I give the wrong answer? Later on, I know. He say, I don't need you to. I already know you get the answer. I want to keep asking you 30 questions and see how many you know. I was like, wow, that's worse than I paying a ping pong. It's like
company is that,
tempo.
Sammy?
There was a company called Active Network. There, I was applying for a database administrator job. Fun fact: I was a database developer, not administrator. So I do know some about administration, but my hands-on is on development. But that one is very heavy on operation. I did not change from non-tech tech, but I changed from one tech to another tech. And my career, I changed that so many times from assembly back end, front end to very front end to operation to very operation to business. So the whole point is like, do not keep saying, oh, non-tech tech. That's what people draw the circle Do not think that I know this, I can go there by doing this, and I tell my hiring manager, this is what the skill you need. You do not want an engineer that only can do the coding. You want an engineer know how to sell the solution and how to even coordinate solution within the team. That's a skill set a hiring manager. Cool. I don't have to manage a team. You can help me to lead the team. That don't forget those kind of skills that you have.
Is without AWS certification underdeveloped in tech? If you were to ask this questions prior to the recession, I would say you could still, as long as you have the experience, you can learn at the job. But nowadays, I feel like the world is so different now. If you have an option to go back and get a college degree or get certification, I want to say go towards a certification because it's knowledge that you're going to use in real life job scenario and solving real problem versus a college degree, which you don't really solve anything.
You will never know everything you know. You need to have the confidence that you can learn and you know how to learn. You can pick the solution fast enough because that's how you be success in the career. So being say, oh, I'm non-technical to tech, do not expect you become a senior, and you do not want to be senior. Trust me, when things on fire, you've been there, you will probably have a heart attack before you solve the problem. Don't do that. If I hire you and look at your background, for example, you are like finance background, I would say, I like you to solve my business problem. You say, but I'm not technical because you think from finance side, you know how to using the least amount of compute resource to solve this business problem. Whereas my other superstar developer going to spin up the biggest compute resource to solve the problem, but that's not cost efficient.
Mhm.
But you do have that skill set. This example is like, do not underestimate what you can bring to the value to the table. But you need to have some piece of paper, some form of proof, evidence to show to the hiring manager or the employer. You can do that. You get a petitioner, like say, if and most people, I say most people, non-tech, I would say 1 weekend, you will be clear that exam. Doesn't mean you know everything. Just mean you get a piece of paper to start a conversation. But if you are tech, 4 hours, you should be able to clear it. I mean, mid-level if you're tech. Do not skip that piece of paper. True story. I have IT manager in IT for like 30 plus years. And long story short, he was let go for one reason or another. And then he tried to find a job. He cannot get a job because every question is say, oh yeah, IT manager, we are using cloud infrastructure and on-premise. What's your cloud experience? None. You have a cert? None. Conversation stopped right there. He say, dude, that's hard. I say, told you. Really, I'm kind of like not making fun. I say, a year ago, I say that Windows desktop is no longer the most used desktop. Cannot think that way. So anyway, he quickly upskill himself, get a cloud practitioner exam, and then fill a few gaps. Then job coming just left and right because now he have the skill of IT manager. He have the cloud, proven the skill, and he also say that I can learn anything you want in short period of time. What's your question? You want me to solve your problem right now? I'm ready to work today.
I'm currently a lead at a telecommunication company and want to go into cloud computing. I've heard some say soft skills are more value sometimes. What is the breakdown for this in the cloud? In an employer perspective, soft skill is not important because when they interview you, they could already pick up all of your soft skill, which is your communication style, your thought process. Are you able to go in depth in providing a solution? How are you going to come about in doing it? For me, I would focus more on the core competence over soft skill.
To me, it's like you need to know how to score point in the exam. Start with this. The exam, you need facts. You need anything is measurable. Oh, I'm a good communicator. That's not something measurable. So when you redo the interview, you always have something is very precise, concise, what you can solve the business problem. However, on that, you also throw a soft side of how you solve it. Being able to deliver the value and upset the whole team, I think you won't last long in that team or that organization. So soft skill to me is like you have to have the technical skills, but you need to be able to deliver delivery, or you're able to work with people. Give you an example. In one interview, one of the interviewers keep attacking me and say, no, I don't like that solution. No, I don't like that solution. I was frustrated. Are you interviewing me or what? But actually later on, I know he wanted to test how I under the pressure to going to deliver, how I stand firm in my position. It's actually he's saying you are the one I can challenge to sell team. This guy, you have to hire him because he not only know technical solutions, but he also capable to handle the stress or bogus comment. So what I'm saying is, soft skill is another skill everyone can learn. Hard skill sometimes is difficult to learn, but you have to have a feel. The overall answer, soft skill, no, without soft skill, you won't last long, even though you get in. But without technical skill, you can get in. So please get in and then improve your soft skill.
We are there. If you're interested to connect with Sammy, just give me a second. I will put all the information in the description below. If you would like to learn more about what we do, I'm hollylee.co, any of my services. Do keep in mind that a lot of the profit that my company makes are giving back to the community. With that in mind, thank you so much for being here, guys. And I will talk to you guys next Tuesday, same time and same date.